I made a video a couple of weeks ago talking about how I think certain games this year that have very high chances of becoming Game of the Year. One of those games was Borderlands 3 because I felt it was going to be this huge game that everyone around the gaming world was going to play. Not to mention it's a game that a lot of people have been waiting for, considering the last Borderlands was so many years ago, and when I made that statement about Borderlands 3 being a contender for Game of the Year, I truly meant it. But this last week of playing the game and seeing how the publisher handled review codes and how the publisher handled the console gamer, I have to say it was one of the most disappointing reveals in games for me this year. Now, while I've played the game for hours with my friends and had a fun time, I still felt very shortchanged from the publisher and almost lied to because of the way they handled their business. And if you've watched me for a little while now, you know I don't like making negative videos that put a game or publisher down. But Borderlands 3 needed to be talked about and had to be shown for what it truly is, which is a big lie to the console gamer, and its Metascore and reviews are manipulated so they can get higher scores and trick gamers into getting the game. And I'm going to show you just how they did this, so let's dive into what I consider a big disappointment. But first, if you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and the like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, while Borderlands 3 has the potential to be a fun game, it's still a game that's littered with bugs and almost game-breaking bugs. But it's also surrounded by a company that try to hide these game-breaking bugs from gamers. And that's going to be my first topic about what this disappointing game has faced. When it was time for people to play the game and receive review copies of the game, a lot of people weren't given one. The rumors started to swirl as a lot of gamers weren't granted a review copy, and this includes very reputable sites like Windows Central along with bigger gamers that have a big platform. Now, everyone thought it was just 2K being a little cheeky and only giving review copies to bigger sites and bigger personalities. But as you dive deeper into it and investigate a little bit more, they weren't giving review copies of the game to console gamers and console reviewers. Instead, they decided to give review copies to only PC gamers and PC gamers that maybe even enjoyed the game more than they should have. And as a PC and Xbox gamer, that's great that the game runs a little better on the PC, but don't manipulate the review score by only giving the PC gamers review copies, while ignoring the giant fan base that's on the console platforms. But it doesn't end there. If you look at the Metacritic scores of the game, the only platform that had reviews of the game for days on end after the release of the game was the PC version. The Xbox and PS4 version of the game just didn't have anyone that played the game and was able to review it. But as time went on, you can tell that the console version was the far worse in performance and optimization. That to me is manipulation and dishonest to gamers because it's obvious that the game runs horrible on consoles and at some points it's unplayable on them. And as of me making this video, Xbox still doesn't have a single review on the Metacritic for the game, while PS4 has only 9 reviews on it, while it's the most popular console on the market and should have way more than that. All of this points to the publisher knowing they didn't have great console ports for the game and decided to only give out review copies that painted the game in a positive light. That to me is unacceptable because I always want a very honest opinion when it comes to the games I'm about to purchase. Instead, we got a game that was rated at an 85 when in reality we all know for the console versions of the game that wasn't anywhere near that score. And as of this video, it's proving to be true because the game sits at a 79 on the console version of the game while the PC version is at an 85. So for me, anytime a publisher tries to change the narrative of their games, it really bothers me, especially when I get the game and play it and find out that there's all kinds of issues attached to it. But the problems don't stop there because the game has huge performance issues that are undeniable when you play the game. First of all, from my perspective, when I played the game, the resolution mode of the game was almost unplayable. It was horrible to see the shuddering at 30 frames per second and was just weird to look at. So I played the game on performance mode on my Xbox One X and still had stuttering on this performance mode, but it was playable and didn't look awkward like the 30 frames per second mode was. But don't take my word for it, let's see what people have said about the console versions of the game. Here's one. How well does Borderlands 3 perform on the current generation consoles? Digital Foundry coverage of the new Gearbox hit will be somewhat staggered since 2K failed to provide review code. But we do now have some idea of what the developer targeted and delivered on the enhanced consoles, Xbox One X and PlayStation 4 Pro. The initial verdict? There are some puzzling technical decisions in place and clear performance issues that need work, but gameplay is golden. The first two sentences alone should give people some worrying about what we're about to experience with Borderlands 3. Not only did the publisher not give huge websites review copies, but they blatantly hid the review codes for consoles from everyone around. So it took these people that provide honest opinions on games a long time to get their reviews and analysis on the performance of the game out. It was too late because by the time people bought the game, these people weren't able to analyze the game in any capacity. But it doesn't stop there. The article also talks about the performance mode on both consoles and how it's not very playable in modes they provide, except for one. Its performance is the real issue here, however. With two consoles each offering two different modes of play, there are 4 potential iterations of Borderlands 3 to consider, and to tell the truth, there's only one of them that we're comfortable playing with for any length of time. Xbox One X in resolution mode, this delivers a nigh-on locked, evenly frame-paced 30 frames per second paired with very nice 1800p image quality. Usually we'd opt to give up some resolution and target 60 frames per second instead, but the truth is that Borderlands 3's performance mode has some genuine issues. On Xbox One X, it's only traversal across the environments that genuinely locked to the target frame rate. Combat sees performance tumble into the 50s, punctuated by longer frame time stutters that add further inconsistency into the experience. If I had to guess, I'd say that Borderlands 3 pushes CPU just a little too hard here for the X to cope with adequately. The situation gets worse when battling in a vehicle, with drops down into the 40s. The article continues to say that the PlayStation 4 Pro is correspondingly worse because it has a weaker CPU, but again, you can tell that this game was not optimized for the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. Instead, the developers decided to take the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the games and just slap them on the mid-generation consoles. This to me is completely lazy development and makes the game that much more disappointing. And you throw in the dishonest review scores and the fact that they try to hide the console versions of the games, and you have one giant lie to gamers that honestly we can't forgive. But that's not all. There's been reports that Borderlands 3 has been overheating Xbox One X consoles to the point that people can't even play the game because of it. The report says this: Borderlands 3 doesn't run great on console, but it seems to be especially having issues on Xbox One and Xbox One X. In addition to a healthy slab of performance issues, the madcap post-apocalyptic looter shooter seems to be overheating Xbox One and Xbox One X consoles, causing frequent crashes. In fact, some players are reporting the game is downright unplayable due to this. At the moment of publishing, it's unclear what the issue is, but it's been present since launch on September 13 and is still an issue as of today. Man, this keeps getting worse and worse. Now, I know a lot of people might get angry with this video, and a lot of people are probably enjoying Borderlands 3, and I have to admit, I've enjoyed the game, but I've also witnessed these issues being reported by everyone. I've had the frame drops and the weird awkward performance from the game. You can tell the game wasn't optimized for the X or the Pro, so that right there is a little annoying considering every single developer out there has optimized for mid-generation consoles regularly. But the thing that bothers me the most is the fact that they knew there were these problems and decided to hide these problems from gamers. Instead of trying to figure out a way to fix these problems and provide a transparent view of the game, they decided to lie to gamers and provide only the best performing version of the game to reviewers, which was the PC version. And don't get me wrong, a lot of developers decide to show the best looking version of their games when it comes to the graphical output, but they don't usually hide the fact that the console version is running horribly and isn't optimized. Not to mention they didn't provide legitimate review codes to anyone that wanted to play the game on either of the consoles. But I do hope they fix all these problems and patch the game so we're able to play the game at a consistent frame rate. Not to mention I hope it doesn't overheat the Xbox I play on. But either way, as gamers, we shouldn't accept behavior like this. And I hope this is the last time a developer blatantly hides review codes from gamers and is honest with the performance of their games. But I want to know what you think about this. Have you experienced this horrible performance? What system are you playing Borderlands 3 on? Does it bother you that they hid review codes from everyone? Should reviewers and media types speak up about this? Will there be a patch that fixes all of these problems? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. Any support helps the channel out more than you know. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my videos. Also, follow me on Mixer. The link will be in the description. I recently started streaming on Mixer because I find the community a lot more engaging and fun. So if you want to hang out and chat with me, I'm very active with my chat and always playing games. I'll hope to see you guys there. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.